Late today, guys. Welcome to the show. Happy hump day. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. Not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. I'm here to do is talk about Jesus, talk about Christianity, talk about God. So if you're interested or if you're curious, if you're thinking about starting a relationship with Jesus, becoming a Christian, seeing what it's all about, trying to cut through the stereotypes to see if there's any truth to it. By all means, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here. Please tune in, get some sort of get some sort of influence through the eyes of me, somebody who's been a Christian all my life, and a and get an impression that I might be somebody who you will probably somebody like me you will probably run into if you go into any church with a with a good culture to it. So, with that said, if you're also interested in listening just to Christian commentary on a plethora of things, both within the church and without, this is your place. This is your place. Come in, be part of the chat, and be part of this content. Be part of this live stream. It's not just about me. You can talk about what you want to talk about. What we have right here is oftentimes um, kind of an online live stream version of a small group sit down. We've got a lot of people who are regulars who come in here and give their impressions, and we discuss things. You can more than welcome to listen, but I encourage you to participate. I will read what you say. I will read your thoughts and I will respond to them if that's what you want. Because again, it's not just me. I'm just the man with the camera and the microphone. You're just as welcome to give your thoughts and insights as well. Welcome today, everybody. Welcome, Nico. Nico, back to first, back on top. Said, give me those scheduled live streams so you can just jump right on as soon as you get your notification. Um, Welcome, Blaine's Escape Corner. How's it going? Porcupine Mayhem also in here on time, not late. Well, awesome. Glad you're catching the crux of the show. Um, Had a talk, like I said, last night's topic about being a dad was not comprehensive in any sort of way. It was just me offering some thoughts that I had just after spending some time reflecting and being nostalgic and appreciating what I have had and what I have and what I will have. But it is not a comprehensive talk about being a Christian dad and how Christianity affects me as a father. It's just some thoughts and reflections. That's why I put take one, because I feel like this is something that's going to be revisited. Parenting has a great impact on my life, and has done wonders for my faith in the Lord as well. So if you like that, I'm glad. We will have more conversations about that, and but don't walk away going, man, I wish he'd talk. Why didn't he talk about X, Y, or Z? It probably just didn't hit me at the time. I was just speaking from the heart on what was on my mind at the time. So cool beans. Other than that, did get word from Nick today. I was bugging him on DMs, and he did say, "Oh, I can't make it tonight." I was like, "Yeah, I didn't think you'd be able to make it tonight, Nick. It's a little bit, a little bit late in the game to put that there. So I'm waiting to hear if he can do it tomorrow. If not, it's no big deal. What I will say is I will not be streaming Friday night. I've got an event I'm having. So that'll be that'll be fun times, but it will preclude me from getting on the stream at any point. At any point. So wait, did I say tomorrow night? Friday night. Friday night there will not be a stream. Thursday night will be a stream. Friday night there will not be a stream. Monday night there may not be a stream. I don't know. Depends on what we're doing. Might have fireworks and stuff. I would assume probably not. I don't normally stream on Mondays anyway, but just so you know, not planning on streaming Monday and Tuesday. Wow, we're gonna come up with we're coming up on a big long stretch. Tuesday, because Monday is the 4th of July. Uh, Tuesday I have softball, so I will not be streaming that night either. So there's going to be a gap in there, guys. Stick with me. Stick with me. And we'll get through this. We'll get through this together. I'm just going to be pretty straightforward. Like I've said this before. This is not my full-time job. This is not my career. This is not my intent to be this to be my career. Talking about God would be awesome on a regular basis, but um, that's not my end game with this. This is very much a hobby. It's one that I enjoy a ton. I enjoy talking with you guys. I enjoy um, the camaraderie that comes along with it. But I got a tight group of friends, and obviously a great family that I've been blessed with, and I'm going to spend my time with them, and I'm going to relax when I can. So summertime is going to be, as this show I'm assuming this show will continue in the years to come, at least the next year or whatever. But as that we go through the different months, summertime is going to be there's going to have to be a lot of breaks, because I do take time off, because it's nice to have time off. It's nice to spend some time relaxing. And as we roll into the fall, the winter months, I will be much more consistent going into the winter months, then getting into the spring and softball and other thing and kids sports. It'll start breaking up a little bit, but I expect during the winter months and probably the late fall there to be Monday to Friday on a lot of streams. But we'll see. I don't have any before most of you guys came, before most of you guys started tuning in. I was considering moving from an everyday stream to a once a week stream, a longer once a week stream, maybe like do a 2-hour once a week stream, and then have Eric and other personalities on and make it more of a guest oriented show. But I, I I was talking to my wife about it, and because she was the one who gave me the idea, and I thought it was a good one. And I said, let me see how many, how popular I get once Nick comes on, and we'll see where. Um, is this what the? We'll see how people respond to it, and what I get out of it. And since I've got regular attenders, and I enjoy that interaction, we are going to stay. My intent is to stay on a several times a week stream schedule. That blocks off. If you guys find something better to do, if I get boring or whatever, it's always something I can return to. It's great. It's but no, my goal is to keep this. We are at 400. I've been dropping a few subscribers at a time recently. Haven't been gaining much, been really kind of hovering around 410 to 420 subscribers. And I'm sitting at 410 right now. 76 views in the last. Let me update this real quick. 76 views in the last 48 hours, which is good. But I really like, my first goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers. And if that happens, I could see that, we can see that a little bit more than double the folks who are in here now will be in here. And that way, with that being the case, 1,000 subscribers, that being the case, it's gonna get a little bit more action packed in here. So we could say maybe 24 regular people in here, which I think is still a good group. And then after that, we'll see if maybe 5,000 is achievable, and keep going and keep going and keep going. But right now, I really don't. I'm not even sure if I want more than 50,000 subscribers. If you're thinking about it, I'm happy with you guys. I'm happy with hovering at 500. I don't care. I really don't care. Like I said, it's a hobby. It's a hobby, y'all. So we'll see. We'll see how things fall. Welcome, Nico. As I said earlier, welcome Blaine. Welcome Porcupine, and welcome Mr. Greg. Mr. Greg. Buddy, hope that I'm following the Devil May Cry stuff. But got, like I said, relaxing a little bit more after my streams. So that's what that is all about. So that's the housekeeping for the moment. That's the housekeeping for the moment. So tonight we're going to get back into Judges. Or not Judges. We're going to get back into Joshua. Back into Joshua. Where did we leave Joshua? And we left. They were getting ready to attack Jericho. Getting ready to attack Jericho. And this is a great moment in biblical history and biblical account because of how everything falls into place and exactly how quickly things can get out of hand. So we're going to be covering basically 2.5 chapters tonight because I feel like we should revel in the glory of victory because we know they win. The walls of Jericho, right? So lots of people know it. The walls of Jericho. We know how it ends. Book's been out for a long time, people. I'm usually the most fastidious to give out spoilers because I hate it. I hate getting spoilers. But this book's been out a long time. So with that said, while I want us to revel in the victory, we're also going to share in the this absolute insanity that follows. Here we go. Power keg. DMC2 got me giggling. I haven't played any of them yet. I'm gonna have to check them out eventually. Nico knows man hard to catch these days, dude. He's busy man. He's a busy man, and he is not exaggerating when he's saying it is difficult for him to keep in touch with people who are not right in front of him, in his vicinity. Right, he's got a lot of people pulling at his time, or competing for his attention. And that's difficult to keep up with. And especially with somebody who tries to get to as much as possible, that can be exhausting. It can be exhausting. So I gave him his space. It's his full-time job. And, if he can make it on here, that's great. If not, it's all right. It's all right. Blaine's escape quarter. Is this what God of the Gaps really means? I don't know if that's I don't know, never heard God of the Gaps. I know that gapping in a racing sense is something. But I don't know what God of the Gaps is. You'd have to fill me in on that. Greg says, be courageous, Joshua. Amen. Be courageous. He is. Blaine says, algorithm will do that. You will just lose subs for a couple weeks to a month with purges. Then it goes back to slow growth. They don't call him the Shaster for nothing. Yeah. He is, what you see, you see the guy. You're getting, and that's, like I said, that's one of the things I liked about what was inspirational about, what I found inspiration from Nick's channel being as successful as it was, is you very much see, what you see is what you get. And I'm not super close with him. I've known him online for a while, and but he doesn't seem to be any different on his stream than he is with any of my interactions with him. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing for people who for people who are honest to get that level of success, and people who are themselves. And you have your everyman out there, just kind of giving voice to the other everyman out there. And so that's why I said, well, you don't have to change. You don't have to put on a persona. You can just be you. And people might like that. People might appreciate that. So that's when I figured, well, maybe they'll appreciate me talking about God. Cool deal. All right. Now that I'm caught up on what everybody said, we're going to get into this. We already read most of chapter 5 in the last reading episode. We stopped at Fall of Jericho because it goes into chapter 6. So, starting at the end of chapter 5, verse 13, the fall of Jericho. Now, when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you for us or for our enemies?" "Neither," he replied, "but as commander of the army of the Lord, I have now come." Then Joshua fell face down to the ground in reverence and asked him, "What message does my Lord have for his servant?" The commander of the Lord's army replied, "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy." And Joshua did so. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, this is that we talk about. There's the popular portrayal of angels as people when it's very possible what you see out of them is what you see when an angel appears is nothing like a person. But in this case, as he was getting near, he saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand, and he finds out he's with the Lord. He immediately prostrates himself and immediately shows respect. This is a man who has followed Moses faithfully for years. For years. He knows what's up. He believes. He is a good dude, right? Joshua's been there from the beginning, always at Moses' side, or always waiting in the wings, learning what he can from Moses. Not a bad mentor to have. And Joshua asks the correct way and tells him to do something. Take off your sandals. You're on holy ground. What was holy about him? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Now, the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. And when you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout. And then the wall of the city will collapse and the army will go up, everyone straight in. Once more into the breach." Or maybe this is the first time. The first time into the breach. So Joshua, son of Nun, called the priests and said to them, "Take up the ark of the covenant of the Lord and have 7 priests carry trumpets in front of it." And he ordered the army, "Advance! March around the city with an armed guard going ahead of the ark of the Lord." Look, God's got a posse. When Joshua had spoken to the people, the 7 priests carrying the 7 trumpets before the Lord went forward, blowing their trumpets, and the ark of the Lord's covenant followed him. The armed guards marched ahead of the priests who blew the trumpets, and the rear guard followed the ark. All this time the trumpets were sounding, but Joshua had commanded the army, "Do not give a war cry. Do not raise your voices. Do not say a word until the day I tell you to shout. Then shout." Look at how Joshua's smart. Again, Joshua's learned from Moses. Do what God says. Don't do anything extra. Don't think that you got some initiative. Do what he told you to. So he had the ark of the Lord carried around the city, circling it once. Then the army returned to camp and spent the night there. Joshua got up early the next morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. The 7 priests, carrying the 7 trumpets, went forward, marching before the ark of the Lord and blowing the trumpets. The armed men went ahead of them, and the rear guard followed the ark of the Lord, while the trumpets kept sounding. So on the second day, they marched around the city once and returned to the camp. They did this for 6 days. On the 7th day, they got up at daybreak and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner. Except on that day, they circled the city 7 times. The 7th time around, when the priest sounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the army, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city. The city and all that is in it are to be devoted to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute, only Rahab the prostitute, and all who are with her in her house shall be spared, because she hid the spies we sent. But keep away from the devoted things, so that you will not bring about your own destruction by taking any of them. Otherwise, you will make the camp of Israel liable to destruction and bring trouble on it. All the silver and gold and the articles of bronze and iron are sacred to the Lord and must go into his treasury." So this is so you think when this happens, you think of the ride of the Rohirrim at the end in the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, at the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. And he goes, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." It starts off very much the very quintessential going into battle speech. The Patton standing in front of his troops, the Ride of the Rohirrim, all these other Leonidas in 300, even though we don't know exactly what he said either. Whatever, "Shout, the Lord has given you the city and all that in it are to be devoted to the Lord." And that's like, and then it gets really long, and then it gets kind of, then it goes kind of off the rails. "Only Rahab the prostitute," this is like the asterisks after him. "But don't forget, Rahab the prostitute and all who are in her house shall be spared, because she hid the spies we sent. Oh, keep away from the devoted things, so that you will not bring your own destruction by taking any of them. Otherwise, you will make the camp of Israel liable for destruction and bring trouble on it." It's like the guy talking fast at the end of the whatever medical pill commercial that's being pushed at the time. You got the guy, he's reading all the side effects, right? All the disclaimers. This is the disclaimer. So he starts short. "The shout, for the Lord has given you the city and all in it are to be devoted to the Lord." Asterisk. Boom. People sometimes have a short attention span and don't listen to everything. So when the disclaimer started, did anybody listen to that last part? Don't know. Probably not. Blaine's escape corner. "The God of gaps is the idea that as science discovers more, that God exists in the gaps in knowledge as an explanation until we learn how it works." Was just making a bad dad joke about your schedule gaps. Oh, yeah. It's funny how much those gaps apparently get filled in with knowledge, that how many more gaps are created as a result of that, and how much those gaps don't really actually mean anything until in the long run. It doesn't really explain these things, why these things happen. Explains that they happen and how it happens, but not necessarily why or where the origin for it is. That's one thing science lacks a lot of, is origins. It's all theories. And so God's supposed to get all the gold and the bronze and iron and silver. He's supposed to get all this stuff. When the trumpets sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed. So everyone charged straight in, and they took the city. They devoted the city to the Lord and destroyed with the sword every living thing in it, men and women, young and old, cattle, sheep, and donkeys. That ass never stood a chance. Joshua said to the two men who had spied out the land, "Go into the prostitute's house and bring her out and all who belong to her in accordance with your oath to her." So the young men who had done the spying went in and brought out Rahab, her father and mother, her brothers and sisters, and all who belonged to her. Hey, that's cool. They listened to her. Good for them. They've been spared. They brought out her entire family and put them in a place outside the camp of Israel. Then they burned the whole city and everything in it. But they put the silver and gold and articles of bronze and iron into the treasury of the Lord's house. But Joshua spared Rahab the prostitute with her family and all who belonged to her, because she hid the men Joshua had sent as spies to Jericho, and she lives among the Israelites to this day. There's a lot of talk in people who are spiteful about Christianity, especially in regards to the abortion debate, among other things. God is pro-slavery, God is pro-genocide, God is pro-murder, God is pro this killing babies. So why do you have a problem with all these things? God is pro his decisions. God is not for man deciding when someone is condemned to die. God is pro when he decides it's somebody's time to go, or it's a people's time to go. And if you read what people don't read or don't pay attention to, is exactly what's going on. God is spitting the Canaanites out of the land. They have become detestable to him. They have done detestable things to him. Blood sacrifices, all sorts of weird stuff have gone on. Perverted things, worshiping idols. It is a place that is lost. So to ensure that society goes away completely, they are to wipe out everything. However, this is God's soft spot, when someone shows fealty to him, dedication to him, somebody puts themselves to his mercy. Rahab the prostitute asked for mercy. She asked it from Joshua, but we know why, right? She knows why. She's asking it from Joshua because Joshua's the intermediary between her and between God and the people. What do? She gives up her city. She helps them to give up the city, and for that she's rewarded, and she is spared, and she is given a place among the Israelites. Even then, God is showing that you don't have to be an Israelite for God to show love and forgiveness to you. Christ hasn't come yet. Plains Corner. Plus, the discoveries and reasons were made by God anyway, so it doesn't diminish him. And because God has always been a cop-out, we should want to learn what God did and how it works. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, Blaine. To me, it's just like it's a healthy exercise as long as it doesn't consume you. To me, sometimes, like, there's definitely things that come with knowledge and advancement in technology and stuff and whatnot. But you got to remember, a lot of it doesn't necessarily matter in the grand scheme of things. It's nice. These are nice to haves, or make things nicer for us to makes a more comfortable living, or helps us better understand how to approach issues. But how much does it actually affect our spiritual health? Usually very little. So I don't think that God has a problem with us learning more about him and being curious and seeking wisdom. I think that he respects that, because I think, again, we're made in his image. I think that's what And because of that, I think that's why we're naturally curious, right? God is a great creator. He is full of imagination. You have to have imagination to create everything in the universe, right? And the way things work. And I think that imagination lends itself to curiosity, which we have along with our imaginations. So, yeah, I think that I don't know that we should want to learn. I mean, but I think that there's nothing. There is virtue in it. I think there's virtue in it, but not in comparison to a growing relationship with Christ, right? And I'm not um I'm not rebuking what you said. I'm just putting it into perspective, putting all that into perspective, because I agree with largely with what you said. And that's just my take. That's just my take. So Rahab is living in the Israelites to this day back then, not now. At that time, Joshua pronounced this solemn oath: "Cursed before the Lord is the one who undertakes to rebuild this city Jericho. At the cost of his firstborn son, he will lay its foundations. At the cost of his youngest, he will set up its gates." So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame spread throughout the land. Amen. So famous, he got his own book of the Bible. Achan, on the hacker known as Achan, before there was 4chan, before there was 8chan, there was Achan, just 1chan, right? No, Achan's sin. Achan just gets a chapter. Why does Achan get his own chapter? And why is it dedicated to their sin? I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I'll need to remember to call you just Blaine. But the Israelites were ungrateful, but the Israelites were unfaithful. But the Israelites were unfaithful in regard to the devoted things. Of course they were. Of course they were. The Israelites are the same people melting down gold to make false idols just days after being delivered out of Egypt. Because they just had to worship somebody. They couldn't just worship God who's up there on the mountain. Of course they didn't. But the Israelites were unfaithful in regard to the devoted things. Achan, son of Carmi, the son of Zimri, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took some of them. So the Lord's anger burned against Israel. I don't have anything to drink. I'm thirsty. Now Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is near Beth Aven, to the east of Bethel, and told them, "Go up and spy out the region." So the men went up and spied out Ai. When they returned to Joshua, they said, "Not all the army will have to go up against Ai. Send 2,000 or 3,000 men to take it, and do not weary the whole army, for only a few people live there." So about 3,000 went up, but they were routed by the men of Ai, who killed about 36 of them. They chased the Israelites from the city gate as far as the stone quarries and struck them down on the slopes. At this, I'm just trying to do the math in my head on this, guys. Sorry about the pause. So about 3,000 went up, but they were routed by the men of Ai, who killed about 36 of them. It's like 3.6% losses. It's not. Israelites lost faith. They must have known. They must have known. Something must have popped out to them where they knew that God wasn't with them, and they got the heck out of there early in that fight. They chased the Israelites from the city gates as far as the stone quarries and struck them down on the slopes. At this, the hearts of the people melted in fear and became like water. Then Joshua tore his clothes and fell face down onto the ground before the ark of the Lord, remaining there till evening. The elders of Israel did the same and sprinkled dust on their heads. And Joshua said, Alas, sovereign Lord, why did you ever bring this people across the Jordan to deliver us in the hands of the Amorites to destroy us? If only we had been content to stay on the other side of the Jordan. Pardon your servant, Lord. What can I say now that Israel has been routed by its enemies? The Canaanites and the other people of the country will hear about this, and they will surround us and wipe out our name from the earth. What then will you do for your own great name? Joshua said, the Lord said to Joshua, Stand up. What are you doing down there on your face? Stand up. What are you doing down there on your face? Israel had sinned. They have violated my covenant, which I commanded them to keep. They have taken some of the devoted things. They have stolen. They have lied, and they have put them with their own possessions. That is why the Israelites cannot stand against their enemies. They turn their backs and run because they have been made liable to destruction. I will not be with you anymore unless you destroy whatever among you is devoted to destruction. Go, consecrate the people. Tell them, consecrate yourselves in preparation for tomorrow, for this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. There are devoted things among you, Israel. You cannot stand against your enemies until you remove them. In the morning, present yourselves tribe by tribe. The tribe the Lord chooses shall come forward clan by clan. The clan the Lord chooses shall come forward by family, and the family the Lord chooses shall come forward man by man. Whoever is caught with the devoted things shall be destroyed by fire, along with all that belongs to him. He has violated the covenant of the Lord and has done an outrageous thing in Israel. All right, so great defeat of of Jericho, great victory against Jericho, and they have defeated their foe. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, we're all happy. We're all happy. They routed. Rahab's here. She gets spared. Joshua's a hero. Fame spreading everywhere. Everybody's scared of the Israelites. And so Joshua will continue his campaign against the Canaanites. And so he does that. But what he doesn't know is that somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do. Achan, and took some of the idols for whatever reason as a keepsake. Who knows? Maybe they just wanted to worship them because that's what they do. Maybe it was shiny. Maybe it was cool. Maybe they thought it would be a keepsake, a good reminder of this great victory. But whatever it was, they didn't listen to what they were told. They didn't do what they were supposed to do, and God was offended by it because it's very, very clear orders. But there's always one. There's always going to be one. In fact, I thought it was more. I thought there would be many more Israelites than this. Here we go. So Joshua loses the next battle. And it's not even close. They lose 36 guys and they just run away. They run away, they get embarrassed. It's very disheartening. And Joshua, he's mourning in front of the ark. And he's mourning what feels like a lack of fidelity for some reason. What did we do? And what can we do? And why have you forsaken me, God? Why have you forsaken your people? And God says, Hey, what are you doing down there? You should know, if I'm not with you, that means y'all have done something wrong. And if what is what you did, somebody did this. Just talk to me. Just talk to me, Joshua. Just talk to me. Get up and do this. And we'll bring everybody out to present themselves. And I'll call them out one by tribe, by family, by man, by tribe, by clan, by family, by man. Devoted to destruction sounds real specific. Is it referencing an exact idol? I don't know. I'm not the one. I mean, maybe it'll talk about it in a minute, but I don't know. A lot of idols. They were worshipped. There's a lot. Look, there's a lot of demons out there. There's a lot of false gods. So there's a lot to choose from. And the Israelites were just infatuated with this, with the idea. So let's find out. Early the next morning, Joshua had Israel come forward by tribes, and Judah was chosen. The clans of Judah came forward, and the Zerahites were chosen. He had the clan of the Zerahites come forward by families, and Zimri was chosen. Joshua had his family come forward, man by man, and Achan, son of Carmi, the son of Zimri, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was chosen. Then Joshua said to Achan, my son, give glory to the Lord, the God of Israel, and honor him. Tell me what you have done. Do not hide it from me. And Achan replied, it is true. I have sinned against the Lord, the God of Israel. This is what I have done. When I saw in the plunder a beautiful robe from Babylonia, 200 shekels of silver, and a bar of gold weighing 50 shekels, I coveted them, and took them. They are hidden in the ground inside my tent with the silver underneath. Yep, he spilled the beans. Of course, this is a very public display of finding out. So I guess he decided he either had a guilty conscience and was just terrified of giving it away, or he knew the jig was up. He knew the jig was up. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran to the tent, and there it was, hidden in his tent, with the silver underneath. They took the things from the tent, brought them to Joshua and all the Israelites, and spread them out before the Lord. Then Joshua, together with all Israel, took Achan, son of Zerah, the silver, the robe, the gold bars, his sons and daughters, his cattle, donkeys, and sheep, his tent, and all that he had, to the valley of Achor. Joshua said, why have you brought this trouble on us? The Lord will bring trouble on you today. Then all Israel stoned him, and after they stoned the rest, they burned them. Over Achan they heaped up a large pile of rocks, which remains to this day. Then the Lord turned from his fierce anger. Therefore that place has been called the Valley of Achor ever since. So God will do great things for us, has done amazing things for us. But we can spit on all that by not taking advantage of it in the way to honor him, by finding sin in its spoils. And it happens, I think, a lot today with people who find success. Find success in fame, find success in fortune, find success in their career, to let pride and all the other hedonistic things that come along with those things consume them. What happened with Achan? Just a little bit of greed. And he violated, because of that little bit of greed, because it looked nice to him, he got a lot of people in trouble. And he got a lot of people dead. His sons, his daughters. Don't care about the livestock. I mean, the livestock meant a lot then. Don't care about the robe, the silver, the gold bars. Don't care about it only then. His son, we were talking about being a dad last night. Your sons and your daughters. God's trying to make an example about the weight of faithlessness, so that Israel can learn so that Israel can learn the gravity of having an agreement, to having a covenant with the Lord means. They don't listen. He knows they're not going to listen. But he's got to put this in place. He's got to put this in place. This has to be done. And a little bit of greed brought destruction on it, because all he had to do was not keep it. Who knows? Maybe he's greatly rewarded if he overcomes that temptation and doesn't do it. We won't know, because he's stoned and dead, burned to a crisp in the valley of Achor thousands of years ago. And hopefully in Christ, hopefully with Christ, he got some sort of redemption. He didn't get it there. We do. Whether he gets it or not, doesn't matter. Nothing we can do about it. Work on us. Work on us. Work on us, and don't screw things up for our kids. So that's our reading tonight. Nice little 45-minute talk, and that's how we start to wrap things up here tonight. Y'all pretty quiet, except for Blaine. Blaine very much in there. But whether you guys talk, whether y'all guys participate, make the chat active, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you guys are here. And I hope that y'all are able to round out this week, this week heading into a big old weekend holiday on a good note. So tomorrow night will be our last stream of the night. I will stay tuned, but if you don't hear something somewhat early, that probably means we're just going to do more of Joshua, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, guys, have a very good evening, good night, and God bless.